Welcome to the Wtf Show podcast from Bangkok, Thailand, presented by Vimol Kogar. Tune in to get your dose of weekly verbal Red Bull.
Welcome everyone to the WTF Show. Today we have a supreme guest, somebody very young and energetic. His name is Udit Dhawan. Udit, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today, and I'm looking forward to doing this. This is my first time doing a podcast, so quite excited.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about college life, where you went to college, and what you did after college.
So I went, after studying at Bangkok, Prana, I went to Melbourne University for 4 years. There I went and studied a Bachelor of Science and ended up majoring in physiology. If I'm honest, it was because those were really the only subjects at the time that I was passing in that degree. So it was a lot harder than I thought it would be. After 4 years of Melbourne, then I went to Burma and worked in Yangon for 3 years, working for my dad's company, which in Burma was also a distribution company for consumer and pharmaceutical goods. So I got the experience of working client-facing projects and things like that, launching new brands into the market that hadn't existed. And after about 3 years, I kind of felt like I wanted a break and needed to get out or do something different. And then that's when I decided to take my GMATs, and I went to study at INSEAD for my MBA program, which is a 1 year master's in business, because of my degree in science, I didn't actually have that much knowledge about how to run a business and all the different things that came with it. The 3 years in Burma did teach me a lot about every division, and I was very fortunate to get to have a higher level position, obviously, because of my dad's company and things like that, maybe earlier on in my career than most people would have been allowed. So that was definitely true. And after that 1 year MBA, then I quickly realized I didn't want to do consulting or didn't want to do finance jobs, which is where I would say 60%, 70% of the graduating class ends up. And so I moved back to Bangkok, and here I am now. I'm 30 this year, just turned 30 2 months ago, and I'm in my third year of my startup, which is called Prana Food for Life.
Wow, that's a mouthful. Prana Food for Life.
Yeah.
What do you do at Prana Food for Life? What do you offer your customers?
So currently we're still 100% vegan. We call it the plant-based diet. No cooking oil, 100% vegan. Food delivery service here in Bangkok. We're an e-commerce company. Basically, we have an online website where customers can create an account, and we offer lunch and dinner deliveries Sunday through Friday. So we're kind of like a lunch box service. You can almost say most of our customers do order for either the home or the office. We have different order deadlines, and we offer over 16 dishes a day, ranging from, Thai, Asian, Indian food, Western food. And then we obviously have a lot of snack items, so we do everything from smoothies, salads, desserts, soups, so on. So everything is kind of covered in our menu, I would say. But the main focus, or the main primary reason initially for launching, was to kind of help promote a different approach to a healthy diet or a healthy lifestyle, which at the time when I launched, I didn't really see much of this in Bangkok at that time. There was loads of Thai companies doing healthy boxes and things like that, but none of them were vegan. They always included, healthy chicken meat or, salmon and other things like that. Or they had different principles to the ones that I was looking for. And so because this was really not that available in Bangkok at the time 3 years ago, and because it was something that I personally do believe in, and so does my family and my home, then I knew that I also had obviously the backing of my parents to go ahead and give this startup a go. So they were pretty much on board. They were just happy that I was ready to come back to Bangkok, to be honest, after being away from home for about, uni plus Burma plus, so that's about 9 years that I didn't actually live in Thailand, although I was back all the time. Obviously every couple of months I would be back.
If I may, I'm going to try and pitch your products today, maybe sell 100 meals for you. Can you quickly describe the menu in terms of a little bit of detail on the products that are on the website?
So we have, starting off with, I put in 2 dishes every day as specials currently that are for people who are just maybe for the first time trying vegan food or vegetarian food, who are like big meat eaters and would never dream of giving it up. So we've got the Beyond Burger from the US on there, which is like a burger patty but it's made 100% from plants. And so if you're just the first time wanting to try out what a plant-based burger tastes like, we have that. We've also got a product, which is, again, both of these come from a brand called Green Monday, which is their main focus is on the environmental impact of the animal agriculture industry. And they try to promote Meatless Monday and other things like that. So they're mostly focused on meat substitute products. So there's another product called an Omni Meat, which is like an Omni Pork, it used to be. But I think for legal reasons, they had to change the name to Omni Meat. And we do a kapow, just a basic kapow with that. So again, these are like the entry-level ones. Indian food is easy. I mean, most of it is already vegetarian. The only thing we've kind of adjusted them from is like we don't obviously put ghee or oil in there, and we cook again. We just cook without cooking oil. That's the only adjustments we've made to Indian food. But if you're familiar with Indian food, dals, lentils, beans, red beans, chickpeas, lobia, things like that, we still make those same dishes. Vegetables, we have a tandoori cauliflower dish. We have a vegetable pulao. We have okra, masala. So we have a lot of Indian food, obviously, again, inspired from home. Western dishes. So we try to mimic food groups that people are familiar with. So we have a lot of burritos. We have 3 different types of burritos, but again, plant-based. We have a lot of pastas, a pesto risotto, a pumpkin risotto, a smashed olive pasta, which is similar to the spaghetti olio. We do a penne arrabbiata. We do a fettuccine carbonara. We call it mushroom sauce. It's not really a carbonara. So again, and then Thai food as well. I think like Indian food, there's a lot of vegetables. I think Asian food is generally quite much easier anyway. There seems to be a lot more different types of variation in terms of green vegetables and things like that. So it's actually a lot easier than it sounds like to just customize it to make everything 100% vegan. We just stick to these 1 or 2 rules I said, where we try to not use cooking oil in our pantry and make sure that everything is 100% vegan. And other than that, there are no other rules in our when we try to develop different dishes.
Do you think that people need an education into veganism? Because I don't know if everybody understands the concept of eating plant-based food and moving in this direction.
Yeah.
We see in Thailand, essentially, if you go for a family meal, people are eating tons of meat and seafood. And I don't know if this is a trend. What do you think?
Yeah, you're right. I don't think so the first thing you can notice is there is no Thai word for vegan. There is no word. It doesn't exist. They have the word te, which is again based on a religious and Chinese descent, and that also excludes onions and garlic and other things like that. So it's not exactly in line with the diet I sell. The second thing as well, I also have not always had. I'm one person who just first. I'm also not 100% vegan. My father is 100% plant-based, and basically the inspiration for why I launched this business. But so yeah, I don't know many Thai people who are vegan. In fact, I'm not even sure I could name that many. I think it's just not a big part of the culture. And again, like I said, the word vegan actually came initially to do with the animal rights and animal ethics reasoning. So vegans also follow other practices in their lifestyle, whereas they don't wear leather and they may not, buy certain brands and things like that as well. And so obviously when we say plant-based diet, we are talking slightly different about the food aspect of veganism, and also maybe more related to the health side of the benefits you can get from reducing your animal product intake. It's a hugely debated topic. You can watch Joe Rogan things, and it's on almost every podcast he does. It comes up once, the topic of food and what is the best diet for you. And arguably there's no consensus overall. So then my whole approach is also to not maybe promote any incorrect health claims and things like that, but like you said, to at least educate people on other aspects, like I said, like the animal ethics or animal rights of factory farming and all. It's very noticeable and clear. Also, the environmental issues of having a very high animal-based diet, which is probably not going to be sustainable long-term for our growing population. So these are more things which face a little less dispute or criticism, which we can kind of also focus on the benefits of why we should adopt a more plant-based diet. And also, lastly, I never try to push anyone to give it up, anything up 100% or things like that. It's whatever works for you and what's best for you. So like I said, we do like Meatless Monday, right? Can you give up meat just one day a week? Like start off with every Monday, you want to start the week off right, start off healthy, don't eat meat on Mondays, you know? That's a good starting point. If that's a little bit easier for you already and you're in the habit, like, you know, again, for my brand, well, how about if every day at the office you ordered not Prana or you just decided you wouldn't eat meat? So that's one meal a day now, you know, where you're trying to make a conscious effort to eat slightly healthier than you normally would. And it's those little incremental steps you might actually realize, hey, I feel better, or hey, I'm losing weight, or whatever your health goals may be. Or I did a blood test 6 months later, my cholesterol levels, my blood sugar are down. Okay, so, you know, you've seen some benefits from it, and then that's really the best way, right, to trial and test it out for yourself. And our goal, obviously, is to make sure that the food tastes good and then you still don't feel like you're missing out or something, which obviously with healthy food, there's always going to be a little bit of a gap there. You know, we're not going to be able to match, obviously, some types of restaurants or food maybe are used to, but we hope at least the taste is still at a level where you still feel like you're not giving up such a big part of your life to adjust your diet.
So if we were to take a round number of 100 baht, $3,
yeah.
Right? So if I had a budget of $3, which is a fair budget, I guess, in Asia, in Indonesia, in Malaysia, in Thailand, maybe not in Singapore, does your meal fall into the 100 baht budget, or does it go above, or where do you see your price point going into the future?
Prana right now at this point is definitely, we're not at the 100 baht level, so our average meal, a main course on our website is about between 120 to 140 baht.
So that's about $4 to $5?
Yeah, about $4 per meal. We're a food delivery business, so within our business model, we have a lot of other costs, which maybe, you know, we have packaging, delivery, and things like that as well, which we have to take into account as well, because we actually do cover almost all of Bangkok inner city for free. So we don't charge any additional delivery costs onto our customers. And then obviously we're hoping with scale that will be something that's able to come down, because then the way we do that is by our drivers all leave the kitchen at once at 9 o'clock, 9:30, and we make sure everyone gets their food by 12. So everyone gets their food in time for lunch. So we're not in, you know, like in Thailand, there are, like you just said, absolutely correct. There's a lot of people who eat their lunches for less than 100 baht, right? They're in that 50, 60 baht food court meal level. We're not at that price point. We're at maybe a slightly higher, just one level higher than that. So maybe like a little middle level, middle class type thing and above would be able to afford our meals. That being said, it's still a very big market, and we're anywhere near that kind of like, you know, we haven't tapped into anywhere near that market. And I think we're at that middle level because we obviously we're not the only people in the market anymore doing this. We have competitors, and I can say compared to other food delivery competitors in this the vegan space, we are still probably the most affordable. But not when you compare us to, like I mentioned earlier, Thai brands that also do these food boxes things. There are brands out there that price themselves at that 70, 80 baht mark. And, you know, over time you may also see slowly 7-Eleven and other big box chains getting into this space of like ready-to-eat meals, which is already slowly happening. And I'm sure that they will also be the ones who are filling the space in that 50, 60 baht range. So it's not even somewhere where we would like to be in, to compete in, because we wouldn't be able to compete with these massive 7-Eleven, CP Group chain stores they'll eventually move as the market shifts and also start launching JA or vegan products in the ready-to-eat meal space, which we usually see a little bit of like this week that just passed was actually the vegetarian festival. I think it's always the same week for India and Thailand, Navratri and Jay Festival. It always crosses. Last year was in September, this year's in October. So you'll find a lot of restaurants and things also then push it. And I've definitely seen, since in my own personal experience in the last 2 years, I've seen the market grow significantly.
Okay. Can I ask, firstly, if I were a consumer today, and I wanted to have your meal in Pattaya or Phuket, how far do you distribute your food out to?
We're only in Bangkok. We don't cover anywhere else. We're only in Bangkok, and like I said, we do it by zip codes, and we cover. When we get to the outside parts of Bangkok, we have a retail partner, Lemon Farm, and there we keep our products in the retail space. So those are generally further out spaces, like towards Future Park and Rama 2 and things where it's not logistically currently possible for us to get to those points in time for customers for lunch, etc. So we do have a retail partner, which helps to cover.
Are you looking to grow in other food sectors? Because it seems that the perishable sector has its own limitations. You need to have this food ready 3 hours before the meals, and there's only X number of Grab drivers out there, and there only X number of customers out there. Seems to me that there is some form of limitation on perishables and ready to eat. Is there any other sectors you might be looking at?
Yeah, we've thought about it. Like you said, it's a high volume business, and you really need to get scale to cover your costs in this type of model, because like exactly as you said, we actually have all of our drivers hired internally. We don't use any third-party delivery services. That's for our own other reasons too. Like we actually offer reusable boxes and things like that to our customers, so we actually collect them back from them. And also in terms of a better customer experience, it's nicer to have your own drivers who they are familiar with the delivery instructions and things like that of a customer. Will it be a sustainable, scalable model? That's something we still have to wait and see in the next few coming years. Outside of that, though, the fresh food market, yes, like you said, if you want to scale larger, then obviously the approach to go is to go into grocery, go into longer expiry goods and things like that, if we already have a delivery thing. So that is something we are looking at, and expanding into an online grocery platform. But again, it will be exclusively only for vegan or plant-based products, and that will allow us to feature or showcase, all the great brands that are now in Bangkok, which we don't make ourselves, because there are new brands popping up every month now that are focused predominantly on the plant-based space. And so it's something we're looking at next year. Looking at other markets within Thailand, currently it doesn't really seem something we're maybe focused in. We may look at exploring expanding to other markets in Southeast Asia if we can get the Bangkok model right. That's definitely something I'm interested in. Like I said, I've personally lived in Yangon for 3 years, so it's also somewhere I have some experience with. We also have a footprint there in terms of at least my dad's company and things like that. And maybe other markets in Southeast Asia would probably be the main focus over going to a Phuket or a Hua Hin or something like that, where it's a much smaller market if we were to expand into new spaces. So those are our two new areas of growth we're looking at, obviously by region and by product portfolio for the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay, so I want to, ours, WTF is about youth empowerment. We're about kids coming back from college and looking for a space of their own. I want to talk a little bit about pitfalls, things that you did wrong, your worst moment in the last 3 years in terms of thinking that this business model is not viable, maybe I need to shift. Tell me a little bit about your your WTF moments, your moments where you took some time and you said to yourself, you know what, I don't know if what I'm doing, did I think this through? Does this have a scalability? Does this have a future? Tell me a little bit about the pitfalls.
Definitely. So, like I said, I was at INSEAD. It's a highly competitive, I was coming out of MBA. You've got a lot of, consultants from the big three, a lot of people working in finance. So I was surrounded by a lot of people there who, obviously were very high flyers, things like that you could say. For me personally, when I left, the main thing I realized after that is that I do want to come back to Bangkok and try to do something on my own. One of the main reasons for me to start my own business was not specifically financially related, but it was more to do with the fact that I wanted to have the opportunity to try to grow something from scratch, from zero, and then build it up myself. And then obviously, secondly, I did obviously want to have the option of being my own boss, you could say, where I didn't have to specifically report to someone else. So that's my own personal reasons for launching the startup. Now, did I know at the time what it would entail in terms of the difficulties that would come with it? No, of course not. And that's the thing about running your own startup, or when you're initially a one-man team. You don't know really what's going to be, where you're going to be in 2 years, where you're going to be in 3 years down the road. You have no idea. So I started off literally just at home. And for the first month when I moved back home after my degree, I was just in the kitchen every day with my mom and my maid at home. And we were just I was just working on what tastes good, what doesn't. After about a month when I still had nobody, I did a trial run with 5-10 friends. I didn't charge them any money. I just said, hey, I want to send you guys food for a week. I'm thinking of starting up this delivery service. Would you guys try my food? So then by doing that, I remember just the first day, it was something so little. I didn't figure it out until Sunday evening. And I couldn't find my friend's PIN on one of these Lala Move delivery apps. At the time, I didn't have my own team. And I was just getting so stressed. I'm like, how am I going to deliver them the food? Oh, no, I promised them I'm going to send them the food on Monday. I can't find any single one of my friend's PIN on the map. It's the difficulty of searching it in Thai, not being exactly the correct PIN. Such a little issue. I lost my head for 2-3 hours. My mom had to come and calm me down. Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. Don't calm down. Stop stressing out. It's just your friends. They'll figure it out. Whatever. This is just okay. That was the first time I was just oh my God. Okay, what am I going to do? I'm accountable to my customers, right? This time I didn't charge them, but imagine I had taken money from them, and then the next day I had to tell them that, sorry guys, I can't get you your food. I don't know how to work this app or whatever, for example. So that was one, and then along the way, obviously, so the first and most important thing I had to do was find team members, things like that. There were times along the way. I think there was one point at the end of my first year, about December, Jan, 2018-19, I thought about quitting. I thought about giving it up and not doing this anymore. Purely because I was focused on the financial side of it. I guess you could say that I was we're losing money, so much money every month. What is the point of doing this? I'm waking up at 5 a.m. every day. I have to be at the kitchen by 6. A lot of days I'm in the kitchen with my hairnet on, helping to pack the boxes or make the food. I've been doing this for a year. Is it ever going to be profitable? Is this model ever going to be something that can scale into a profit? Things like that. So when I guess I can say when you don't look at the long-term perspective of it, and then you're only thinking about the short term, then obviously it's very easy to give up and very easy to fail. And also when you don't have when you're your own boss now, you cannot when you're working. I feel that's the main difference for people who want to try to do their own thing. You get your freedom of your own work schedule, but then you're also accountable to yourself. So there is no blaming. My job is just this, and then I report to my boss. And as long as my boss is happy, the job is done. And so you can work at any time of the day and things like that. You're accountable to your customers and to your business and to your brand. So yeah, I thought about quitting. My parents didn't let me. They said, you're just having a bad month, 2 months, see what happens, see how you feel in 2 months. And it was right, yeah. So I kept going. We've been growing every month, every year at least, since we launched. So that's the positive side of things. The market was small. This was something. Luckily, my dad is there. He has a lot of business experience. So he said, first 3 to 5 years, it's not about making money. And he's right, because if I didn't launch 3 years ago, there are so many vegan brands now in the market, competitors of mine. So if I decided to wait 3 years longer to launch when the market was there, would I have a head start on my competitors? Probably not. Would I already be at this scale? So you're going to struggle when you enter a market that's not already there. If you're trying to be the one who's building the market or creating a niche, then it's very well expected that you're going to struggle to find customers. You are going to struggle to get your point of view out there. It's even today it's not a popular concept in Thailand. I would be sure that less than 1% of the Thai population is vegan. But yeah, I guess when you're having a bad day or a bad week or a bad month and sales are not going too well or whatever's not going to, I mean, you need that support system around you. Find team members who are good, who work for you. Probably the single biggest thing that saved or helped my business is when my older brother came to join me a year ago.
What's his name?
So my older brother is Tarun.
Okay.
He also went to INSEAD, ironically, 6 months before me. He went and got a job in a head financial position for a company, Boston Scientific. He worked there for about 2.5 years. And then I think he was also done with corporate, and I told him, hey, bro, if you're ever want to do something, I need help. Like, I reached out to both my brothers, my older and younger brother, and said, I need help here. Guys, like, I can't do this alone. We each have different skill sets that we're good at, right? And obviously, I would trust them more than anyone else I can hire. So I said, look, guys, I need help. And it just so worked out that he wanted to leave his job. When I kind of said this, he was already thinking about it, putting in his notice. And so he's been with me now for over a year. And now we both work together managing the business.
Having you here today, Udit, I've learned a lot about the world of veganism. I understand it's now a lifestyle choice as opposed to a meal choice. And I would love to go to your website maybe Monday morning and book a meal for maybe the week. Do you have a 1 week deal or a 1 month deal, or how does it work?
You can order for the whole week.
You go.
We have packages and things like that, yeah.
Okay, so there's a deal on the table for us. Hopefully, Udit will give us a WTF deal at some point.
Maybe I should have came here with a special promo code for you guys. But
Rajan's definitely going to try some vegan food this week. Anyway, thank you so much. Had a great time with you today. Again, as usual, I'm going to ask you for two things. One is please give us the name of somebody you think would be a great guest on the show. And secondly, we have the WTF Show Awards next year for the youth that inspires his community and brings us forward. That will happen in 2021, and you have the right to nominate one individual aged 20 to 30. Thank you again for coming on the show, and you have the last word, Mr. Udit. So tell us a little bit of the future of Prana.
The future of Prana, is that the question?
That's right. What's the future of Prana?
Okay, the future of Prana is to first be profitable, of course. That's the long-term goal, is to become a profitable and sustainable business. Like I said, we're looking at, expanding more from food delivery into the e-commerce space. Maybe we want to be an online platform for anyone who's looking for anything plant-based related. So whether it's grocery products, whether it's fresh, ready-to-eat meals, and obviously maybe the dream, the goal long-term, because I'm also very passionate about fitness and sports and things like that. Ideally, who knows, one day, if we had a Prana, a house of health here in Bangkok, where it could be a gym studio where we can run, classes for people and also have workshops and also run other things, maybe cooking classes, things like that. And that could also operate as our central kitchen where we do still deliver out our food and do all our warehousing. That's really the goal. The long-term vision in the next 3 to 5 years is to have a space where people can come, basically educate themselves, eat healthy, exercise, etc., and so on, and build a community there, and obviously still have our online presence on a website.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Udit Dhawan, Pranaa Foods at the WTF Show. Tune in next week where we will have.
That's it from the WTF Show. Vimol and the team from WTF Show would like to thank all our sponsors. Tune in next week for another great gig with people making a difference to your future. For advertising spots, go to the WTF Show IG page and get more info or contact Vimol at 6681-616-5987.